there's room for everyone to grow. There's room for everyone to share their art, share their music. Um, there's 7-8 billion people on this
Yeah.
planet. I'm sure like a certain audience is gonna relate to this artist and to this artist and this artist.
Welcome to another episode of Yalla, Let's Talk, a show on a podcast that's gonna help you try to figure things out by people who are still figuring things out. Today we got with us Miss Zeyne. Zeyne is a Jordanian Palestinian singer who started her musical journey in the pandemic. She has brought Afrobeats, Arabic R&B into the world of the Middle East, and we are so grateful to have Zeyne with us today. So thank you, Zeyne, for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's so great to be here and to be in Toronto as well. I'm so happy.
Well, we're very grateful that you were able to come all the way from Jordan to Toronto, and this is your first time in Toronto?
It's my first time in Toronto, first time in this continent.
In this continent.
So yeah, it's my first time. I'm so excited to be here.
I love it.
But
What
yeah.
was the thing that surprised you about being in Toronto?
Okay, so it's not much of a surprise because everyone told me the weather kind of is really cold here. And everyone's been telling me that I came in the right time because it's right before winter starts. But it's already so cold for me. So, yeah, I've been a bit surprised by how cold it is in October. So,
Toronto's cold. Like,
yeah.
I think the optimal time, come May to maybe actually September, October-ish. But
Yeah, for sure.
But
May
the fall is a
yeah,
vibe.
Yeah, it's a vibe, and all the trees and the colors. I love that. I'm very much into nature, so
I love it.
yeah,
So you're in the right place, the right time.
100%.
So something maybe not a lot of people know. I met Zeyne last year, and it
It's
was
crazy.
Isn't that crazy? We met like once, and
And we spoke for like 10 minutes.
right? But then even from those 10 minutes, I was like, yo, there's something really cool about Zeyne. Like you
Yeah,
have this
likewise.
energy. Thank you. You
Yeah.
have this energy. And I feel like just seeing your musical journey evolve over the past year, it's really nice to watch. Like you've
Thank you so much.
literally, I remember when our first conversation, you were telling me about nostalgia and the
yeah.
inspiration behind that. And
Yeah.
now you've come up with so many different releases, Atul, Balak.
Yeah.
And I want to know, how did you begin your musical journey?
I basically started at a really young age. I grew up in a musically inclined household, so both my parents love music. My dad used to travel a lot when I was young, and every time he'd come back, he'd come back from a different city or country, and he'd bring back CDs from CDs. That was back when we used CDs,
Back
right?
in the day.
Back in the day, and tapes of different music from different cultures. So I was really exposed to different genres of music from a really young age. And my mom and my grandmother also sing, but not professionally, just around the house. So just growing up and listening to them sing around the house, it was always just natural, everyone just loved music at home. And my sister also played the piano, and she was really good. She's actually like 12 years older than me. So I was very young when I started just like looking up to her and seeing how she was playing, and it was so effortless. So I think when I was 6, I told my mom that I wanted to start piano lessons.
When you were 6 years old?
When I was
Wow.
6 years old. And then that's how it started. I started when I was 6. I started taking vocal lessons when I was 9. But classically, I was classically trained vocally. So it was like more operatic singing as opposed to like what I sing now, which is more on the R&B popish side. And so yeah, that's how it all started. And then one thing led to another, and we're here now.
I love that. I love the fact that right from the beginning, like from your early childhood, you were inspired by your family, your mom, your sister.
Yeah.
And you went to your mom and you told her, like, hey, mom, I want to start this musical career. And your mom supported you on that.
Yeah.
As I found that very special. Do you feel like if you didn't have that support, you would be here right now pursuing your musical career?
For sure. I feel like my family played a huge role into where I am now, right? Because if they weren't supportive and they weren't accepting of what I wanted to do and what I wanted to pursue, I definitely wouldn't be sitting here with you right now having this podcast. So yeah, I'm just so grateful for them and for how they pushed me to become a better version of myself and just accept and support what I wanted to pursue.
I love that. What was your parents' reaction when you're like, I want to pursue singing?
I actually remember that conversation very well. It was January 2021. And I sat them all down in the living room, including my brother. And I was like, guys, I need to tell you something. I think I'm going to do music full time and I want your support. And they were very happy. Like, I wasn't anticipating that reaction. And I was just so surprised. I started crying. I'm an emotional person. So I started crying. I'm like, oh, this is so amazing. Thank you. And I remember my mom saying, like, I always wanted one of my kids to go into music. I just didn't expect it would be you. And I'm just so happy that it's actually happening. And I never knew that. I never knew that she actually thought that or wanted that because she never expressed it. But I guess when it happened, it was a full circle moment for her. And yeah, she just told me and it was just so heartfelt.
That is very wholesome.
Yeah, it was so
that.
wholesome.
I feel like we always hear stories, especially from people in Jordan or our community and culture, where parents are not necessarily supportive. They're like, be a doctor, lawyer, or engineer. And then you have, mama who's telling you like, I actually genuinely wanted one of my kids to be in the creative industry and be an artist and a singer. And
it's amazing.
I can see that. And I can see how that support was able to validate why you wanted to become a singer as well.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, 100%.
I'm curious in terms of right now. So family is very supportive and you had their full blessings.
Yeah.
As a Palestinian, Jordanian woman in Jordan, how did you feel society perceived you as a upcoming singer?
So there was a lot of support. There still is, which I'm really grateful for. But there is some stigma still towards the creative industry. Or just creatives in general, and more so when it's like music or acting or like those spheres of the industry. And I feel like it's because people don't really think that that's the conventional career path that an Arab should take, and it's tough because you're not taken seriously, right? And I actually have this interaction like almost twice, maybe 3 times a week, where I'm asked like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, music. And they're like, oh, but what do you actually do? And I'm like, yeah, that is my day job and my all day job. So I have to always explain and elaborate myself and always just tell them that is my career, and for some people when they find out, they're like super supportive. They're like, oh, that's so cool, like I didn't know that, like I'm so glad we have more creatives in Jordan and the industry is growing. And you have people who are like, oh really, but like are your parents cool with that, like do you make enough money, like personal questions like that. And I feel like it's not really in their place to ask these questions.
And you feel like it's there. Like some people are
definitely
supportive.
There. It's definitely there. So I feel like I'm definitely part of the group of people who are trying to normalize unconventional careers, especially in the region. And I'm
right
just
on, yeah.
I'm just happy to be a part of that group. So,
I love that. And I think it's so important to understand that I think wherever you go, there are going to be people who will not be as supportive. And when you focus your energy on that, then, the outcome is going to look a little different when you're just
100%.
focusing your energy on the people who are cherishing that and supporting that.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of misunderstandings about how hard upcoming singers do work. Like I've now seen a lot of these different creatives and I know you guys, this is what you do from the morning till night.
We don't even sleep.
You don't even sleep.
Like sleep is just like out of the picture. I haven't slept in 2 years. But yeah, it's a lot of hard work, and I feel like especially if you're like an independent artist as well, and you're not backed up by a major label, people don't realize that you are a one man job. Like I run the show, you know, like
You're on the show.
I
love
obviously
it.
like have incredible people helping me, and I have my team, and I'm so grateful for them, but I ultimately end up micromanaging every aspect of every single thing I do, like from social media to my visual identity, to producing, to writing, to recording, prepping for live shows, marketing, even looking at like the contracts and being involved in that, you know. So it's a lot, and I think people the biggest misconception is just thinking if you're an artist, then do you enjoy singing? Like you don't, your job's easy, you just have to sing and look nice. And I'm like, no, that's
There's a lot more
not
to it.
that's not my job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. I'm so happy that this is my job because I love it and it's my passion. But yeah, a lot of people just don't understand how hard it is. But yeah, I'm just so grateful for the little time I've been able to just pursue my career. I've built this incredible community all around the world. We're still growing, but I'm just so grateful to every single one.
And it's incredible how much you were able to achieve in that 1 year time since
Yeah,
I
I'm so
last
grateful.
met you.
I'm so grateful.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned while we were talking right before this that you were actually going to be in London and live in London and had a internship or a job offer
Yeah.
in public relations.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened and it didn't work out. And so you decided to then pursue an alternative career path and music
Yeah.
was it. I wanted to go just and ask more about your thought process, and because that takes a lot of courage. What made you want to decide to go into music and know that that's going to be for you?
So I actually went into it like not with the intention of just wanting to pursue music professionally. Back then, we're talking about March 2020. I just come back from London. COVID happened, so we were locked in, and we were going through quarantine, and it was very unclear. There was a lot of like uncertainty in the air. Like we didn't know how long this pandemic was gonna last. We went back to spending like time with the family and just doing stuff that we wouldn't do on the daily. Like I started baking. Like
I love that.
I started doing stuff that I was like seeing TikTok. I'm like, I'm doing cinnamon rolls today.
Cinnamon rolls.
It was so funny. Like I started doing stuff that I wouldn't usually do. But on the other side of things, I also lost my job offer that I had in London, and the visa sponsorship that they wanted to that they also offered. And I was really down when that happened because I'd been working up to that moment for like a few years, you know, like back when I was in university, I was doing internships, I was building my portfolio, making sure that I could get that job in London, you know. And then when COVID struck, everything just like, you know, it changed all of my plans, and I ended up in Amman, in Jordan. And I remember just sitting there and I was so bored. I didn't know what to do. And I was not like in a great place mentally as well. Like, you know, I was upset because of everything. And I remember staring at the piano and I hadn't played it in like a few years because I was away. And I remember saying to myself that, okay, like, why don't I open an Instagram account and start uploading these covers and see people's reactions? But I also did it for myself because I never actually had the confidence to sing in front of people. Like, not even my family, like I would be shy. So it was also something for me to like an exercise to build my confidence, if that makes sense. And back then when I used to upload my covers, I wouldn't even show my full face. it would be half of my face, and just I would be singing so like casually on the piano, and not all my friends knew that I sing, so they would send me these videos, and they would be like, "Zane, is this you?" And I'm like, maybe.
You're like, yeah.
No. I remember like trying to hide it from my friends, but then it would just, yeah, I started just uploading like full like no full covers that showed my face, and they were like, "Oh my god, we never knew," and I'm like, "Yeah, now you know." It was so funny actually. But yeah, I started doing that for a while, and then one thing led to another, and I ended up meeting a lot of people from the local music scene in Jordan. And I'm just so happy I got to meet them, because I ended up meeting Nasser al-Bashir, which is my producer. Shout out to Nasser.
Shout out to Nasser.
He's amazing. He's incredible. And he also became one of my best friends. So yeah, I'm so grateful for all of that. And yeah, I just started to make my own music then. And yeah.
So I love that. And we're going to talk about friends in a second, but I want to know a little more about your style, because you are bringing Arabic R&B back to the Middle East. You're infusing Afrobeats.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about what inspired this new genre and not just fit in the traditional Arabic formula that we see on, I want to say, certain channels? So tell us a little more.
I want to say ultimately that I've always loved R&B. As a kid, having older siblings, my sisters are 10 and 12 years older than me. So when I was just like 3-4 years old, I was listening to all of like the R&B legends like Lauryn Hill and D'Angelo, and all the girl groups as well, and the boy bands that were happening back then. So I was very much influenced by that 90s R&B style as a kid. And just growing up, I also found modern day influences like Daniel Caesar, Her, or Her. And I also like Billie Eilish. She's amazing. Eloise, which I'm seeing actually after tomorrow.
You're telling me.
Here in Toronto.
That's
She's crazy.
awesome.
She's one of my favorite artists. Can't wait to see her. But
And you said she was also the first artist that you did a cover on Instagram.
yeah, isn't that crazy? It's also a full circle moment.
Full circle. I love it.
Full circle moment. So yeah, and more recently, I've also been listening to a lot of Afrobeats. I'm obsessed with Wizkid. He is insane as an artist, as a producer, as a writer. He's behind some of the greatest records of our time, and I love him. So I just wanted to bring me into the music that I love and that I listen to, and just, I wouldn't necessarily say create a new genre, but just create a sound that reflects and represents me and my generation, and yeah, just blending the East and West. And
I love that. I love the whole mixture, and it does sound like it's something that that you truly, it speaks to your soul.
Yeah,
so you're creating music that's Zane, right?
Yeah,
that's your
for
sound,
sure,
that's
for
your
sure.
vibe. So Zane, you mentioned right now, meeting Nasser was awesome, and I love Nasser.
It's amazing.
I think,
Yeah.
I think every person in the music industry would be so lucky and blessed to even meet this dude.
Yeah.
I want to know, in your creative journey, your friendships throughout, because as you may anticipate, a lot of people, whether you're a content creator, you're in media, you're an artist, you're going to start meeting new friends. Your friends may have different interests. How has it been like for you, keeping old friends and meeting new friends?
So I feel like it's just the circle of life, right? Like, you enter new phases in your life, you meet a lot of different people. Some may stay and some may leave, and you just live and you learn. But yeah, I'm so grateful to have met Nasser at that time of just me entering into the music industry, because he's been so supportive. The support I've seen from this human being is just unmatched. And and I've learned so much from him, and I genuinely enjoy his company so much. So that's why I think he's easily become one of my best friends and closest friends, in not only in the industry, but like just outside,
Just in life.
just in life. He's a friend for life. So I'm so happy. And
So what I liked about this is you've kind of listed what you appreciated about someone like Nasser as a friend. Like, what are some green flags? Like, someone meets someone in the creative industry. What are some green flags where like, this is a real one. This is a good friend that I need to keep around in my circle.
I feel like, okay, some green flags would be someone who's this is an obvious one, but someone who shows support no matter what. Someone who is down to listen to you, you know, and not necessarily like offer advice, but just is there to listen and just shows up when you need them. Someone who's open-minded as well. I feel like people sleep on that. Like, someone who's open-minded and accepts all like art in all of its forms.
So when you say open-minded, just to clarify, is it like open-minded as in it takes feedback, or what?
No, like open-minded as in is willing to understand the art that you're creating and not judge you so quickly, you know? Because art is very subjective, and you may not like someone else's art, but if you take the time to understand what they're actually trying to do, I just love that. I love people who are open-minded like that and just are willing to, you know, accept the art that you're making and respect it. And yeah, and someone who also respects your boundaries. I feel like that's a really important one that shouldn't be forgotten at all.
But how does respecting someone's boundary look like? Because like, I think it may look different for different people.
Yeah. I feel like respecting boundaries is as simple as making sure the other person in the relationship is comfortable with having the other person around, and just making sure that you don't push them to do something they don't want to do, or like maybe not enforce opinions or just like judgments that are not necessarily always welcomed. I feel like, then you slowly start to build the dynamic of the relationship, and you start to draw your own boundaries for yourself and for the person in front of you.
I really appreciate you saying that, because I do think, you know, as we enter this, as you would say, this new circle of life, or this phase in the circle of life, you are going to meet so many different people.
Yeah.
And we're lucky to meet, you know, other people who may have similar interests and new commonalities, or sorry, not new, but commonalities that are new in our lives.
Yeah.
And you've identified someone like Nasser who exhibits these green flags, who supports you, who listens, who is open-minded. And I'm like even reflecting on it, and I feel like one of the ways I was able to establish, okay, this is, you know, my ride or die, is exactly what you said, that word support.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in this creative industry, there's so many people that are going to try to put you down.
100%.
There's going to be so many people who are going to say no. And if your friends, your real ones, or if your family starts to being also that no, then it may take a toll. So
Yeah,
you can't necessarily,
for sure.
exactly, you can't necessarily control what the industry may say, and you know, you're going to power through it, but you can control and choose your friends.
100%.
And I
100%.
want to flip this now in terms of the red flags in the creative industry. What are the red flags that are like, no, this person is toxic? Like, no, we're not going to be like friends with this person.
Okay. Red flags. Okay, I'd say red flags. Someone, just in general, I feel like not only in the industry, because they might be like similar red flags, but someone who is, when you go out with them and you leave that outing, you feel drained. You feel like drained just by going out with them. You know what I mean? Someone who comments on like your smallest flaws, or like judges you like that. That is a big red flag. Someone who always makes you feel like there's a competition. You know what I mean? Like there's this competition is healthy, But when it becomes like very intense and just like uncalled for, it definitely can turn into toxicity
How does
real
that
quick.
look? Oh, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Go ahead.
I'm just curious. How does that look like in real life?
In real life, so again, there we go back to support, right?
Yeah.
So you feel like there's fake support as opposed to genuine support, and that might be like with, I don't know, like now in our like modern day, you know, life and social media and stuff, it might be like a story, or it might be like, oh yeah, like I'm showing support, but genuinely, is that person showing support, or are they just like posting that story because they want to show support? You know what I mean? And just like always like feeling they're trying to like be one step ahead of you, which is not necessarily the goal. I feel like ultimately in the end, your biggest competition is yourself and who you were yesterday, and just always like wanting to become a better version of yourself. I feel like that is your competition, you know? But I feel like people who are fixated on certain individuals and just like putting them in their mind and their head and just saying like, yeah, like that is my competition. I feel like they don't necessarily always go so far in what they want to achieve, because they end up focusing on something else. And the goal is not winning the competition over, you know, that particular person.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's just becoming a better version of yourself. So I feel like the line is a bit blurred there, and it's, yeah,
Okay, you said some really cool things here. You said like there's like performative support where someone can just post a story, but you know deep down that this is just for a show. And then the second thing you mentioned, which I thought was really interesting, this whole aspect of like you feel it, and I think this goes back to the whole test. This is how I assess whether I'm like, okay, is this person a real one, or is this person like I need to put some more boundaries on this person? And
yeah.
and the test goes like, right now, if something good happened to me, will this person be happy for me, or will this person not?
100%.
And
Someone who is like happy to see you win. I
yeah,
feel like that's one of the green flags as well.
absolutely. Like
Yeah.
you know and you feel it. And here's the thing: it might all be in our head, but the fact that we feel that,
It's your gut feeling.
It's your gut feeling.
It's your intuition. You can't ignore that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Sometimes your intuition tells you things that not necessarily your head is telling you or you're able to articulate. And I feel like that test, at least that's a test I've been using. And I think there's a misconception right now when it comes to what's toxic friendships, is that you can be an incredible human being. And it's like being a toxic person is not a bad person. And they could be an amazing friend to a million other people.
Yeah.
But that person might not be the right fit for you. Right?
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
So I appreciate what you're saying, and I think it looks different for different people.
100%.
So I want to now just go back to just the creative industry in general. What do you think draws people in the creative industry to become friends in the first place?
Definitely. I feel like what draws creatives together is the sense of, again, support. I feel like I can't ignore this.
Support is huge.
Support is huge, especially in this industry. It means so much. Like people genuinely, I feel like people genuinely don't understand how big support is for artists and creatives in the industry. So the sense of support, sense of understanding, sense of like hustle, I guess, because you know, like when a creative is working hard day and night to just do what they want to achieve, you get that as another creative, because I know how hard working you are and how goal oriented you are as well, you know, and I appreciate that so much about you, because I also feel like I work day and night to try and achieve what I want. So I feel like that sense of hustle, yeah, and maybe like some inspiration as well, you know, because I feel like we're very much inspired by each other, to become better, to do better, to experiment and you know, explore and make new things. So I feel like those four things are definitely what bring creatives together, in my opinion.
Do you know what I found really cool? In Balak, you had the girls from Al Rawabi.
Yes, Yara and Joanna, I absolutely love these girls so much. I was actually just talking to them a few days before the shoot, and I was like, guys, we're casting my friends in the video. Like, would you like to be there? And actually, Nasser was in the video. I'm not sure if you
I remember
saw
seeing
him.
him.
Yeah,
Nasser's in every one of your videos, which I really appreciate.
Yeah. He's just always there. I love that about him. But yeah, Nasser was there. Yara and Joanna were there. Obviously, like, the amazing cast that made it. I'm so grateful to everyone. But yeah, it was such a fun shoot. Very hectic. It was very long. But everyone was so patient, and everyone just loved the project. So it went kind of smoothly. So I'm grateful for that.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love how, your friends showed up and
Yeah.
they were
No.
part of the process, right?
Yeah. I love them so much. They're so
Yeah.
nice people. Like, so nice.
And do you know, like, even no, I can't speak. So even watching the video, like, you guys had really good chemistry and a really good dynamic. Like, you
Yeah.
can tell you were genuine friends.
Because it wasn't acting, like,
Yeah.
like, this is genuinely how we are, like, outside
that.
of like, the shoot and the industry in general. Yeah, we hang out, we're just friends,
Yeah.
like, friends. So they were happy to be part of the shoot, and yeah, I love them.
I love that.
Yeah.
And those are people with the green signs, green flags, We see the support, we see
Yeah.
the validation, we see that they're there, they show up.
100%.
And that's what makes friends in any industry, right? Not just in the
100%,
creative industry.
100%.
Do they show up? Do you know if you can call them that they're going to be there?
Are they happy for you when you're winning in life and doing
Yeah.
all these great things? Are they going to be happy for you, and obviously vice versa? Are you going to reciprocate the energy for them?
Yeah.
It's important,
And I love that. And I think that is the way we start to kind of like regulate people. Because like I said, you can be an incredible human being and you can still love that friend, but then they can exhibit some toxic traits. We're like, okay.
I'm not sure, I'm not sure
put
this
some
is going to work
boundaries.
out. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like you said, it's not the right fit for you. It's kind of like a relationship, right? There could be an amazing human being in front of you,
100%.
but it's just not the right chemistry, right? So I really like that. And I think it just goes back, like, one thing we were talking about earlier is that whole idea of that, like, the scarcity mindset, where there are people who are thinking about their creative journey as like, they need to be the only person that exists. They are the only artists, or they are the only content creator, or they are the only media outlet, or whatever, right? And that's when you have that mindset, in my opinion, that's when you start to have that unhealthy competition.
Exactly, because I feel like what a lot of people tend to forget is that there's room for everyone. You know what I mean? There's room for everyone to grow. There's room for everyone to share their art, share their music. There's 7-8 billion people on this planet. Yeah. I'm sure, like, a certain audience is going to relate to this artist and to this artist and this artist, and it's like, so there's room for everyone, essentially. And I feel like a lot of people tend to forget that, and we end up like there ends up like being this unhealthy competition, because one artist feels like no, like, this is my time to shine. I'm like, no, like, we can all shine together, right? And I feel like in our region specifically, when one artist makes it, it kind of sheds light on all of us, because it ultimately, like, brings the spotlight to our region, which I feel like is so important. And that's when we start redefining, new culture and just like, yeah, it's amazing.
I love that you said that, because it's so true. Like, when one person in the community, in our region makes it, it shows that everyone can make it as well, the power.
Take Isam and Najjar for an example. Isam, he's my little brother. I love him.
Shout out to Isam. Much love.
When Hadal Ahibik blew up, and everyone was using it on TikTok, and everyone suddenly found out that Jordan exists and is a country. No, I'm serious. Like honestly,
I believe you.
yeah, no, like Jordan all of a sudden became like, you know, a hub for like new and upcoming music. And that kind of actually started happening like the year after. Like a lot of people started emerging from the from the Middle East, but from Jordan specifically, you started seeing so many new artists. And also, which is so cool, and Nasser can tell you more about this when maybe hopefully you and him can have a talk. So many artists started flying in from the region to Jordan to specifically produce with Nasser and like people in like other producers, which I find is incredible. Like the fact that people are flying in from other countries to produce in Jordan says a lot, you know, like people are starting to see how much the industry is growing in Jordan, and that makes me so excited.
I love that. I love that. And you're right. Like I think back in the day, like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Right? It was usually Lebanon or Egypt.
Lebanon for sure. Right? Lebanon was the hub for music, and you know, you'd fly out to Lebanon to shoot a music video, and you'd fly out to Lebanon to meet with writers and producers and make your music. And I feel like now that hub is becoming Jordan, and I love it. I love it
too. It's and I remember meeting all of you guys last year, and I was so like amazed by the energy, and everyone had doing so many different things.
It's amazing. Yeah. Okay, what I want to tell you is when I met Nasser back in 2020, and when he's actually the person who inspired me and pushed me to start making my own music, because I never believed in myself enough to think that I can actually write music, let alone release my own music. So he was like, yeah, you need to start. Like, now is the time. Like, believe me, Zeyne, Arabic music is going to be a thing. Labels are coming. They're coming to the region. Sub-labels are going to open, and they're going to be signing these artists, and you should definitely be one of them. And I remember him saying that 2 years ago. It's just it just gives me goosebumps every time I think of it, because we're actually living, this is our reality right now. And he was telling me that as like something that I would never like have actually thought would come true. And the fact that labels did start actually opening like sub-labels to cater for artists here in the region, it's insane to me. Like I can't even like begin to understand that.
I love that. I love the fact that Nasser, in a way, inspired you, but not by like telling you like some quote or like this is your time.
No. He was like, this is gonna happen.
This is gonna happen. He was like,
he manifested it. He was like, this is gonna happen, and you better be ready for it, you know? And I was like, oh my God, okay, cool. So I remember going back home, writing my first song, showing it to Nasser. He's like, okay, we can work with this. And we ended up like reproducing, rewriting some of it. And that's how I started releasing my originals. And ever since, I've been co-writing and co-producing with Nasser all of my songs. And yeah, it's been a journey.
Incredible. Yeah,
it's been a journey.
It's amazing. I feel like everyone needs a Nasser in their life, because
for sure. Oh my God, for sure.
Because it sounds to me like when you started your creative journey, you had that person who was able to not just inspire you, but provide some reason. They were able to break it down. They were able to communicate their vision, and it started manifesting. And as you can see it,
for sure,
right?
For sure.
And on top of that, this is the cool thing about being in the creative industry. They are extremely talented, and you work together.
Insanely talented. I've not seen anyone like him. So yeah.
What's more important than just knowing your why is actually doing it, right?
100%.
Just
you'll never know. You'll never know unless you try. And I feel like if I had waited for the right time back in March 2020 when I opened my account, for the right time of, you know, like, till I feel confident enough to like post myself, I would have never posted.
There's no right time.
Because there was no right time. If I wait to become confident, that's not gonna happen, you know? I only became confident in myself and in my art when I actually started posting, you know, getting feedback from other artists around me, other musicians, people who care about me, who are actually supportive of me and my art, that's when I became confident, because I was able to, present my art to everyone, but also be able to take back the feedback, constructive criticism, you may call it, and apply it and just become better and better and better. So yeah, that's definitely like how I became confident.
I love that. Because you're right. Like, I think what's that famous saying goes is the perfect time is now.
Yeah.
And it really is. Like, you're not gonna be confident or achieve anything in 1 or 2 years. You're gonna just start doing it. You're gonna get better.
And see where it goes.
Exactly.
That's the purpose of life.
It's the purpose of life. By Zeyne. I love that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that could be a new song, but
oh my God, no.
No, not
no.
purpose.
No, it's not gonna be called Purpose of Life. But yeah, definitely like a theme of one of my new songs.
Very cool.
Coming up.
I was gonna say there was another song you're writing about friendships, and maybe this conversation is gonna inspire some new lyrics. Put me on the song credits.
100%.
I do have a follow-up question actually.
Yeah.
So we talked about, and I'm very grateful because I do think it's so important for everybody here to know what a good friend looks like, and I think Nasser personifies that, right? He 100%. Shows you the support. He listens. He's encouraging you, and when you ask yourself, is this person happy for me? Without a doubt that they are. Yeah. And I'm sure, and I'm 100% sure it's all reciprocated. Now, my question is the people who are toxic, because I do think this is a theme that keeps coming up in the creative industry, where we need to work with people, but there are some traits that are not looking so healthy. I want to know, have you been in a situation where you did cut a friendship because it was toxic?
Maybe not necessarily in the creative industry, but I've definitely had toxic friendships outside of the industry. I mean, who hasn't, right? Like,
it's true. Yeah.
Everyone has. I feel like you'd be lying if you said.
So how did you cut that person? What's the tea?
How did I cut that person?
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. It's just as easy as okay. First of all, it's never an easy process to like cut anyone out of your life. I feel like it always like leaves a lot of scars, and you're the one who has to deal with them, right? But it's just a moment of realization of, okay, like this person doesn't serve me or doesn't add value to my life. And just respecting yourself enough to get yourself out of that situation. I feel like that's when you've actually fully allowed yourself to like, okay, move on and move to better things, move to better friendships. And it's tough. It's difficult, because at the end of the day, okay, like you've moved on, you've cut that friend out of your life, but to understand that you actually made excuses for bad behavior and being treated badly, and then taking that perspective and just like living with that and just really realizing what you ignored and what you allowed to happen, and just sitting with that feeling is a lot, because there is a lot of healing that needs to happen then, so that you don't develop, insecurities or
absolutely,
or like, doubts in yourself, that can be ultimately reflected and projected in new friendships, which we don't want. Like you need to like
heal. We want to be
so that you can have healthy relationships in your life. So
I wanted to actually just now maybe spin that question. Have you noticed jealousy in the creative industry? How does that look like?
Definitely. There is a lot of jealousy, but I feel like, it's tough to say this, but like if you're focused on yourself and you just focus on the good instead of focusing on the bad, you kind of you don't see that jealousy anymore. You know what I mean? Because it just adds to the noise. It's not really what matters and what is gonna make you grow. You know what I mean?
You see, I really appreciate what you're saying right now, because it's all about like where you're focusing your energy on. There's gonna be toxic people. There's gonna be jealousy.
In every aspect of your life, there is going to be toxicity. But I feel like no matter, just knowing where your headspace is at and what you can focus on. And this is something that I'm still also trying to figure out, and, you know, like making sure that I don't get caught up in all of that, because that can really throw you off and make you forget why you're doing this in the first place. You know what I mean? So I feel like just like knowing where to focus your energy and just surrounding yourself with people that make you feel good and vice versa is the most important thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And it's very important. Your inner circle, wherever, whatever industry you're in, that's your environment. And you want to be around people who make you feel good and who are supporting you. And it's something I want to just go back to. And the reason why I was asking about that, the jealousies question, is because I have noticed, even in my own experiences nowadays, is that there's this scarcity mindset where people feel like, okay, they just need to be the only artist, the only creative, the only this, the only that, versus there's enough
room for everyone.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's, at the end of the day, the way I look at friendships, even in the creative industry or in any industry, it's really building an ecosystem,
100%.
right? You're gonna need the artists, you're gonna need the influencers, you're gonna need the content creators.
Ultimately, you'll all collaborate on something like us right now.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, the fact that I came in to Toronto just in time as you were, you know, filming these podcasts. Yeah, for sure. Like, this is one way different creatives can collaborate, and I'm really grateful.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one last question for you. Oh, actually, I have two last questions for you.
Let's do it.
Okay. What is one piece of advice you'd give an upcoming artist who wants to start and establish their musical career right now?
I feel like we've talked about this before, but just don't wait for the right moment to come, because that doesn't exist. Now is the right time to do whatever you want to do. And just making sure that you don't stop, right? Because it's so easy to like be thrown off by one okay-ish average release that might have not gotten a lot of views or streams. That shouldn't that should never throw you off. You should always just like focus on the main goal, which is like making music because you're passionate about it. And I feel like everything else will fall into place. But also another thing is believing in yourself and trusting yourself, because if you're not able to like trust yourself, you won't be able to trust the people around you. You know what I mean? And that's important, because you are, in the end of the day, you are working with a team. And if you're not able to trust your team and you know, just work with them collaboratively, things won't flow as smoothly. So I feel like trust yourself so you can trust other people.
Okay, Zeyne, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I think the best piece of advice that I've ever received is just to start. To just go. Don't wait for the right moment. Don't wait until you're confident, until you have the right equipment, until you have a good camera, until you have good relationships, until you're signed. No, like that's not going to serve you in any sort of way. Just start. Trust the process, because again, when you trust the process and you trust the people around you and trust yourself, things will definitely like flow naturally and things will fall into place and the stars will align and everything will work out. So yeah, just trust the process.
And I know it sounds like very simple advice, but there's so much truth.
Yeah.
You just gotta start.
You need to
figure it out.
Yeah, 100%.
No one knows.
Start today.
Start today.
Start today.
So you guys, if you're listening to this podcast, whatever you want to do, you want to start singing, you want to start a podcast, you want to start acting, you want to, okay, maybe you go to the medical field, like something a little not on the creative side, just start. But okay, if you're going to go the medical field, maybe first apply for vet school.
Yeah, 100%. Maybe study.
Yeah, study a little bit. Yeah. Don't operate on anybody. So thank you so much, Zeyne, for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's It's been a lovely time.
Likewise, honestly, this was.
So good to see you as well.
I know it's been like over a year.
Ages. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna let you say the last thing you want to say to the camera, to the viewers, to the audience. Tell them to subscribe.
Don't forget to subscribe.